It's streaming, right? Did I finally do it? Did I figure it out? Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Can you hear me, Honesty? Here's your guys' chat. I think that I finally made it so that I am on the same timeline as you guys. I don't think I'm too in the past. Oh, it's close. Oh, I lied. There still is. Fuck that shit. I'm pissed! Stream. Stream, stream, stream. What the fuck? No, I don't want to put my phone on here right now. Why am I so far behind? I don't get it. Fuck, that's a long delay. Why does this suck so? I think it's my fucking internet, honestly. Says it's healthy, things are good. Please check the video resolution. I am not on that. So I don't know what it wants me. How do I check the stream resolution? Hi, Rye. Hi, Spiro. I'm trying to figure out where the thing is. I need to figure out the specs. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Stream. Output. I honestly don't know what it wants me to do. Here we go, advanced. I have shitty internet. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's slow. Okay. Video. Here we go. So what should the resolution be? I don't know. And it won't let me change on here anyway, so fuck it. Things look okay to me. Does everything look and sound okay to everybody? I know my screen is boring. Okay. Well, let's go to YouTube. What do you guys say? I was gonna watch the new Nexpo video, but I shall wait. Oh look, it's us. What if we stream our... This is gonna be weird. I know my screen is boring. Okay. Well, that... Oh, clueless white guy orders in perfect Chinese. Seriously?
哦，有筷子吗？好，谢谢。我用筷子没问题，对。Hey guys, what's going on? It's Xiaoma, and today we are in New York City's Chinatown. It's amazing.
No, like, why is this a video? That is a dumb fucking video idea. Does anybody have idea for the video they want to watch? Let's see what it recommends to this channel since it's pretty new. Oh, this podcast is great. Everyone should listen to it. Ventilator. I'm not gonna do that. Why is everything about like race? Oh, but Korean meets American. Oh, progeria. No, we don't want to watch Pence be a moron creep who can't look at women's ankles. Ooh, should we look at the ultimate bunkers?
Today's episode is sponsored by Dashlane. Try Dashlane for free on your first device. And when you decide you want to upgrade to premium, use my code TOP10s to get a discount of 10% on premium. More on them in a bit. If all out nuclear war happens, many places in the world could be wiped off the face of the earth in the blasts. Unlucky survivors would die slowly from radiation or in nuclear winter. It's a nightmarish scenario, and just one way humanity could be doomed. We could also be killed off by disease, environmental problems, asteroids, just to name a few other extinction-level events. Because there are so many ways humanity could end on any given day, some people have built or are in the process of building some amazing bunkers and fallout shelters. Number 10. Atlas Survival Shelter. To start off, we thought we'd go with the working person's luxury bomb shelter. Atlas Survival Shelter's galvanized corrugated pipe bomb shelter starts at about $49,000. The pipe is 32 by 10 feet and it can comfortably house 3 to 4 people. It has one bedroom plus extra bunks, a washroom with a shower, and there is storage under the floor so you can store up to a year's worth of food. The tube, which has its own air filtration system and is powered by solar panels, protects the inhabitants from bomb blasts and nuclear, chemical, and biological disasters. Finally, any exterior components such as the lids of the escape tube and solar panels are hidden and nearly impossible to see unless you know what you're looking for. What's interesting about the Atlas system is that multiple tubes can be connected together to make a bigger complex. For example, they have a complex that holds 80 to 90 people. Number 9. Silo Home. The aptly named Silo Home was built over an Atlas F missile silo that was constructed during the Cold War in the Adirondack Mountains in New York. The home that sits over the silo looks like a normal 1,800 square foot cabin. The bunker, which is protected by walls that are 3 feet thick, is connected to the ground floor via a spiral staircase. The subterranean area has 2 floors. The 2,300 square feet of living space includes a jacuzzi, a kitchen, a dining area, and an entertainment room. There are even windows with fake light that simulate sunlight. The silo home is also full of potential because there's a lot more room for renovations. There are 9 levels equaling 12,000 square feet that are still unused. Number 8. The Cavern Suite. Have you ever seen the Grand Canyon and thought to yourself, well, that looks comfortable enough to sleep in? Well, hopefully not, but if for some reason you'd love to sleep there, there's actually a luxury suite 200 feet below the ground in the Grand Canyon Caverns in Peach Springs, Arizona that was once a fallout shelter. The caverns were discovered in 1927 by a woodcutter named Walter Peck. Accounts vary, but apparently Peck either fell or nearly fell into it. Peck thought that there might be gold in the caverns and quickly bought the land. When he found out there was no gold, he made it a tourist attraction and led tours around the caverns. Since then, it has had several owners and has been used in different ways. Notably, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, it was used as a bomb shelter that could house 200 people. Some of the relics of its days as a fallout shelter can still be found there, such as dehydrated food. In 2001, it was purchased by a group of friends who converted the remnants of the bomb shelter into a luxury suite that is 220 feet by 400 feet with a 70-foot ceiling. To stay at the oldest, darkest, deepest, quietest, and largest suite room in the world for one night, it costs the first 2 guests $800 and then $100 for each additional person. It holds up to 6 people. However, if it were needed as a bomb shelter, 2,000 people could survive in the caverns for several weeks. Number 7. Subterra Castle. Located in the Kansas Hills, about 25 miles west of Topeka, Subterra Castle is a mansion that was created from a missile silo that once held an 82-foot Atlas E rocket. Ed Peden and his wife, Diane Rick Peden, bought the silo in 1984 for $40,000 and did a tremendous amount of work on it. They converted it into an underground mansion before moving into it in 1994. The silo has 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. There is a music room complete with a stage, domestic and commercial kitchens, a library, study, and a hot tub. Ed Peden loves giving tours of his home to school groups, television crews, and anyone else who just wants to see the bunker. Just make sure you let him know ahead of time. Number 6. Gerard B. Henderson's bomb shelter. If you were to look at this Las Vegas home from the street, you probably wouldn't think much of it. It's fairly mundane, just a 2-story house that looks like it was built sometime in the 1970s. However, 26 feet below the house is an amazing Cold War fallout shelter that's connected to the house by an elevator. The shelter comes complete with fake scenery, which includes fake trees and fake rocks. There's a garden of sorts, which has a 4-hole putting green, 2 jacuzzis, a sauna, a dance floor, a bar, and a barbecue that is in the shape of a rock. It's also got a swimming pool, of course. There are 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Finally, the lights can be adjusted to imitate different times of the day. There are even some twinkling stars to imitate the night sky. The shelter was installed in 1978, and the original owner, Gerard B. Henderson, former director of Avon, who died in 1980, had the decor reflect the era in which it was built. There are pastels everywhere, and the kitchen is pink. The house was listed for $1.7 million in 2013, but it is unclear if it was ever purchased. So you might not need a bunker to protect yourself, but you really should be protecting yourself online, and that's where Dashlane comes in. Dashlane is a one-stop shop for all of your digital identity protection needs. If all your passwords are the same, it's a bad idea, by the way. You can use Dashlane's password manager to create and securely store complex and unique passwords, making it less likely that your accounts are going to get compromised. They also have a VPN as part of their service, meaning you can browse the internet securely and confidently even on public Wi-Fi. But not just that, they also actively monitor the dark web to see if your information has been leaked somewhere. That means that you can go in and change your passwords before someone breaks into other accounts that share that same leaked password. Plus, Dashlane does what it's always done. It stores your passwords, it keeps your personal data secure, it fills all of those annoying boxes for payment info or passwords for you. So, make your life easier and head to dashlane.com/top10s to try Dashlane for free on your first device, and when you decide you want to upgrade to premium the video. But renovated to new government standards in 2012, the facility, as it has been nicknamed, is a privately owned fallout shelter. It sits on 32 acres, and above it is 2,000 square feet of commercial space and a caretaker's home. 45 feet below is the bunker with 3-foot cement walls that can withstand a 20-kiloton nuclear explosion. The bunker has 4 600-square-foot apartments, each have 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a kitchen, and a dining area. It also has 5 staff bedrooms because, well, what's the point of surviving the apocalypse without someone to clean up after you? Other amenities include a 15-seat home theater, a library, a conference room, a first aid room, a commercial kitchen, an HVAC system, and environmental monitoring sensors. The facility went on the market in 2015, but it's probably out of your price range, unless you're Bill Gates. Number 4. Luxury survival condos. In 2008, Denver-based developer Larry Hall bought a 174-foot deep former nuclear missile silo near Concordia, Kansas. He converted it to a large bunker made up of individual condominiums. Besides the condos, the bunker has a swimming pool, the library, a 17-seat movie theater, and a hydroponic vegetable garden. To fortify the bunker, there are 2 armored doors weighing 16,000 pounds each, and the bunker has its own security force. Each resident is also given 5 years' worth of freeze-dried and dehydrated food. The silo can house up to 75 people, and there are full units and half units. A full unit is 1,820 square feet with 9-foot ceilings and costs $3 million. Half units cost 1.5. Hall provides armored pickup for the residents within 400 miles of the silo, which is designed to protect its inhabitants from war, terrorist attacks, disease, and many other disasters. Amazingly, by 2012, Hall had completed construction and sold all his units. He is currently trying to develop 2 more silos. Number 3. Vivos, Indiana. In a secret location in Indiana is a luxury fallout shelter built by doomsday bunker builder Vivos. The shelter is built out of a Cold War communications facility that was designed to withstand a 20-megaton blast within a few miles of the bunker. The website says they are not near any nuclear targets. Inside the bunker, 80 people can be housed. If you're interested in securing a spot as of August 2016, it will cost you $50,000 per adult and $35,000 per child. The one-time cost includes enough food that all residents could live underground for a year. As for the accommodations, they are about on par with a 4-star hotel, but obviously freeze-dried and dehydrated foods have a tough time competing with resort food. However, it does have a movie theater, dining area, gym, and the condos are lavishly decorated. Amazingly, Vivos, Indiana isn't the only project taken on by Vivos. In fact, they have a much bigger bomb shelter called Number 2. Vivos Europa 1. Located in the German village of Rathenstein, Vivos Europa 1 is one of the most secure structures in the world, and the accommodations are supposedly on par with a 5-star resort. Originally, the bunker was built in a weapons storage facility that the Soviets used in the 1970s. When West and East Germany merged, Germany inherited the bunker that was built into a mountainside and planned to store weapons there. However, when they found out they couldn't do that without violating international treaties, they sold it at an auction. It was eventually purchased by Vivos, who set to work converting the 227,904 square foot silo into a giant doomsday bunker. Another unique feature is that above the bunker there is an above-ground component that's 43,906 square feet. It consists of offices, warehouse buildings, and a train depot. Protecting the bunker is the mountain into which it's built. There are 3 doors that are nuclear blast and radiation proof, and the bunker has its own private security force. The bunker can hold up to 6,000 families, and most individual condos are 2,500 square feet. It's also possible to build a second level, so your condo can be expanded to 5,000 square feet. The bunker can also house a small zoo and has room for genetic storage. For entertainment, there are pools, restaurants, theaters, and gyms. There's no price listed on their website, but we can be certain that it's radically expensive. Number 1. The Oppidum. Dubbed the world's largest private apocalypse shelter by Forbes, the Oppidum is found in the mountains of the Czech Republic and is a bit different from the other shelters on this list. People who buy bunkers here can also live above ground on the massive estate. Should there be a reason to get into the bunker, they would go to their secret corridor, which is sealed off by a blast-proof door. This allows the residents to reach safety in under a minute. The bunker is designed for billionaires, so despite having a ton of square footage, there are only 7 apartments. Residents can live for up to 10 years underground. For the residents of the 7 apartments, there's a movie theater, a spa, a swimming pool, and a library. There was no cost listed, and in order to even visit their website, you need a code. Surprise, surprise! We don't have one. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to subscribe. Brand new videos just like this every day of the week. For more from me, subscribe to another.
How come you guys don't like this guy? I like the channel. I think he's got good information. He does have a bit of a snooty little thing going on there, but I don't know. I like his stuff. Okay, what was I looking up? The Franklin something. Franklin affair. Hold on. First, we're going to share this. Can you still not hear me? Am I being too quiet? My mic might be down. The box. The man. The man in the box. Okay, good to know. Did anybody ever see that cartoon short made by, I think it was made by the South Park guys, and it was about a dog named Princess. It's like, who's that fluffy bundle of love? It's Princess, Princess. I'll see if I can find it. Or I'm gonna sound retarded. Oh, I scared 2 people away. Okay, what is it called? Okay, Princess. The dog. Episode. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad that I can show you guys this. It was on like those old Flash sites.
Who's that fluffy bundle of love? It's Princess. On today's episode, Princess meets Officer Friendly.
Thank you, Honesty.
So, what you're telling us, Mr. Richards, is that you took a half bottle of Viagra, which gave you a 5-hour boner and eventually caused you to ejaculate so much that you blew your wife's head off.
I knew you wouldn't believe me.
Oh, no, I believe you. This is the 18th case like this we've seen.
What?
Yes. Ever since Viagra showed up, we've been having little problems like this.
Little problems? I have to go downstairs now and tell my son what happened. Oh, God. How am I going to tell him?
I understand there's been an accident. Where's the body?
Who are you?
Oh, well, I'm the body checker guide.
You mean the coroner?
Yes, I'm the coroner. I need about 10 minutes alone with the body.
All right.
Make it 20.
Fine. Mr. Roberts, if we could just step out so the coroner could do his work.
I have to tell Tommy. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a hot dead body. Oh, yeah.
Tommy, Daddy has to tell you something.
All right, Dad.
Tommy, when a man and a woman fall in love, they are attracted to each other, and they want to be close to each other. And sometimes the man takes his penis and puts it into something the woman has called a vagina. But sometimes, instead of putting his penis in her vagina, he puts it in her mouth. And if he's been taking too much Viagra without any release, he can blow the woman's head clean off. And that's what I did to your mother. Do you understand?
No.
Shut up, dog! Quiet! You're ruining the moment!
Quiet, dog! Wait, just a minute, Joe. I think she's trying to tell us something. What is it, girl? The barn's on fire? Old Mr. Mulligan is stuck in the well. A small deaf child is all alone on Haskins Bridge? Maybe she's just in heat.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so you see, Tommy, Mommy's in heaven now, looking down on both of us.
How is she looking at us if you blew her head off?
Not now, Princess!
I think she wants us to follow her upstairs to Mommy.
Tommy! No!
Don't miss next week's episode. Princess finds a red balloon.
I don't think they ever made another episode called Princess Finds a Red Balloon. I didn't know that was episode 2. They didn't show the beginning when he was getting his old-fashioned. Do you guys remember Charlie, the unicorn? In college, we would get I thought this was so funny when I was like 19 years old. Charlie, come to the Candy Mountain, Charlie. Just gonna play whatever.
Hey, Charlie! Hey, Charlie, wake up! Yeah, Charlie, you silly sleepyhead, wake up!
Oh God, you guys. This had better be pretty freaking important. Is the meadow on fire?
No, Charlie, we found a map to Candy Mountain. Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, we're going to Candy Mountain. Come with us, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, it'll be an adventure. We're going on an adventure. adventure, Charlie.
An adventure.
Yeah, Candy
Charlie.
Mountain, right. I'm just gonna, go back to sleep now.
No, Charlie. You have to come with us to Candy Mountain. Yeah, Charlie. Candy Mountain. It's a land of sweets and joy and joyness.
Please stop bouncing on me.
Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Candy Mountain.
Alright, fine, I'll go with you to Candy Mountain.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
Enough with the singing already.
Our first stop is over there, Charlie.
Oh god, what is that?
It's a Leopleurodon, Charlie. A magical Leopleurodon. It's gonna guide our way to Candy Mountain.
Alright, guys, you do know that there's no actual Candy Mountain, right?
Shun the non-believer. Shun. Shun.
Yeah.
It has spoken. It has told us the way.
It didn't say anything.
It's just over this bridge, Charlie. This magical bridge of hope and wonder.
Is anyone else getting, covered in splinters? Seriously, guys, we shouldn't be on this thing.
Charlie. 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 Charlie.
I'm right here. What do you want?
We're on a bridge, Charlie. We're here.
Well, what do you know? There actually is a Candy Mountain.
Candy Mountain, Candy Mountain. You fill me with sweet, sugary goodness. Go inside the Candy Mountain cave, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie. Go inside the cave. Magical wonders are to behold when you enter.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm gonna stay out here.
But you have to enter the Candy Mountain Candy Cave, Charlie.
Oh, when you're down and looking for some cheering up, then just head right on up to the Candy Mountain Cave. When you get inside, you'll find yourself a cheery land, such a happy and joy-filled and perky merry land. They've got lollipops and gummy drops and candy things, oh, so many things that will brighten up your day. It's impossible to wear a frown in Candy Town. It's the mecca of love, the Candy Cave. They've got jelly beans and coconuts with little hats, candy rats, chocolate bats. It's a wonderland of sweets. Ride the candy train to town and hear the candy band. Candy bells, it's a treat as they march across the land. Cherry ribbons stream across the sky into the ground. Turn around, it astounds, it's a dancing candy tree. In the Candy Cave, imagination runs so free. So now, Charlie, please will you go into the cave?
Alright, fine. I'll go into the freaking Candy Cave. This had better be good.
Yeah. Goodbye, Charlie. Yeah, goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye? What? Hey, what's going on here? Hello? Who is that? Oh, what happened? Oh, they took my freaking kidney.
No one else ever seen that. Tell me if you've seen that. That was huge back at the beginning of the internet, when the internet started. Oh, I've seen that. Okay. Have you guys heard of salad fingers? Don't touch my rusty spoon. Why is it? Because I still have Princess in there. What were we gonna do? Franklin. Affair. Bing. There is no Franklin affair. I don't know what you wanted me to look at, Spiro. Yeah, salad finger is a little bit fucking creepy. Why does it keep bringing up Aretha Franklin's funeral? And why did Ariana Grande sing at Aretha Franklin's funeral? Like, what? How does that make sense? No. Franklin cover up. Okay. Speaking of Nebraska, said no one. The continued legacy of Boys Town. Is it this that you're talking about? Or is it, oh no, Omaha Cases? Oh, here we go. Let's play the Franklin cover-up horror RPG creepy real life story. No commentary. Not safe for work. So there's a game. Oh, we found some. Is she hot? I can't tell if she's hot in all my glasses. No, she's not that hot. She's like a 5. 6. She's a 6. She probably has a better body, so it probably brings her up to like a 7. 7.5. Yeah, 7. 7 if she has a nice body. Nice honesty. Okay, which one am I supposed to play? Yes to what? Considering I probably said that like 30 seconds ago. So now this one? Johnny Gosh, okay. The one with the 7. Cover up of Johnny Gosh. I've heard Johnny Gosh. Oh look, the Franklin scandal. No boxing stream. I don't know what that means. You think she's an 8? We'll look at her. We'll go watch.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do part of my Halloween series, and I'm going to do a Where Is case. This is the craziest case ever. I have been absolutely obsessed with it. It has to deal with government conspiracies. It has to deal with kidnapping, sex trafficking. It's just so creepy, and still to this day it's completely ongoing. So I definitely want to share this story with you guys. I think you guys will be just as interested in it if you haven't heard of it yet. So the case is about Johnny Gosh. This case is very publicized, and there's just so much overwhelming information that still to this day they're trying to find information, and it's just so complicated, and there's just so much to it. So I'm probably gonna miss some of the parts. If you guys want to know every last detail, there's a documentary on Netflix. His mom wrote books about it, but if I told you every last detail, I could be on this video for like 2 hours. It's that intense. Okay, so I'm gonna tell the story basically through Noreen.
Okay, that is, no, she just, the whole time, it's just her talking for 22 minutes. She's down to a 6. You can't fix stupid. I can't deal with stupid people. Just, no. Sorry, Angela Hoff or something. We'll see what happened. This looks 2 years ago, 107,000 views. Okay, this is probably a better one. Ah, shit.
Hi. Is anyone there? By the way, I have no freaking idea what's going on with my hair today. It was greasy, I tied it up. Does it look better? Probably not. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Harmony Nice, and today I'm going to be doing another unsolved mystery video. All the videos are now returning to normal, and I'm so freaking excited to tell you some really exciting news, which I'll be announcing next week in hopefully a tea and chats video, but I will update you on that. The unsolved mystery video that I'm going to be doing today is an extremely hard to talk about one, but also very interesting, and it's super weird, and I didn't actually know until I started looking into this case. It's actually very well known. I think maybe not so well known in England. It is the disappearance of Johnny Gosch. Now this is one of the most bewildering cases that I have probably ever researched, just because as we get in—
Really?
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we cover the case of the James.
Watch this. We're gonna get a copyright strike. Why did it take us to this?
Into it first.
Watch this.
Which is his mom's.
I want to watch these guys. And no ISIS. No, none of that. So there's 3 of us in here. There's somebody's not talking, somebody's watching, and somebody's being an unknown observer. That's okay. You don't have to talk to me. I can't wait for a dead bug this week. It's gonna be so crazy. I watched, let's see, let me go on to, I'm not going to be able to see your chat for a minute. I'm going to go and look at the videos that it recommends to me on my own channel. Maybe I should just stream from my own channel and tell people to come over here, because I got more new people there than I have streaming here. We still don't have enough subs at all. Oh look, we can watch I Hate Scary Mysteries. I don't want to support them because of what they did to Night Dogs. But I want to know what the Franklin cover-up is. So here we go.
Scary Mysteries, Twisted Twos, The Franklin Cover-Up, and Snowtown Murders. Tales of hauntings, murder, and scary mysteries. Every week, Twisted Twos dives into a pair of uniquely terrifying true stories that are worthy of a more in-depth look. For this week, we focus on the controversial case known as the Franklin Cover-Up and a brutal massacre that happened in the land down under. Get ready for Scary Mysteries, Twisted Twos. Number 1. Franklin Cover-Up. It was in the late 1980s when allegations of a child prostitution ring in Omaha, Nebraska first surfaced. This ring wasn't your local, run-of-the-mill prostitution ring, according to sources, but instead a sophisticated one involving prominent and high-level individuals. According to the story, the ring's pimps were powerful brokers who catered to individuals from the higher rung of the government. The 2 men central to running the said scheme were Larry King and Craig Spence. Both also ran the Franklin Federal Credit Union. Founded in 1968, the Franklin Federal Credit Union's goal was to make credit available to businesses and individuals in the African American community of North Omaha. Lawrence E. King, better known as Larry King, not the CNN news anchor, served as the credit union's manager for over 18 years. King was described as a flamboyant person, known for owning several businesses and living in one of the better neighborhoods in town. He's described as being tall and dresses lavishly. He is also seen traveling in his chartered jet, oftentimes with an entourage of young men. He later became a prominent Republican. In April of 1988, officials from the National Credit Union arrived on the doorstep of the Franklin Community Federal Credit Union and closed it down. They were acting on a tip from the FBI and IRS. Then, on November 14th, the agency, which oversees the nation's chartered credit unions and handles insurance for the deposits, filed a suit against Larry King. They found out the Franklin Credit Union assets only totaled $2.5 million, making upwards of $38 million missing. At first, it was allegations of embezzlement that first lured the eyes of the public and the government towards the credit union, but it wasn't long before reports of possible child sex abuse surfaced. Then a speaker on the executive board of the state legislature in Lincoln, State Senator Ernie Chambers, said he had received countless reports giving credence to child sexual and physical abuse linked to the credit union scandal. Later on, the FBI acknowledged they also received such reports and investigated the matter independent to the embezzlement and fraud inquiry. Although little information was released about the nature of the allegations, the accusation said boys and girls, often taken from foster homes, were transported around the country, particularly in Washington, D.C., to serve as high-ranking officials by airplane to offer sexual favors in exchange for a reward. Aside from Larry King, the other main suspect arrested was Craig Spence. Spence was a Republican lobbyist and was also part of the Franklin Community Federal Credit Union. Later on, he openly expressed his fear he would be killed by the CIA and his death made to look like a suicide. True enough, Spence was found dead inside his hotel room, and the coroner declared his death a suicide. Many of his partners would later be sent to jail for being involved in an adult sex ring. Allegations of child abuse, drugs, and pornography were first reported as far back as 1985. Among the first reports were from a social worker handling a case against Jarrett and Barbara Webb. Jarrett Webb was a board member at the Franklin Federal Credit Union. The allegations also brought forth a connection between King, the Federal Credit Union, and Boys Town, a nonprofit organization dedicated to caring for children and families. Founded by Edward Flanagan, Boys Town was created in 1917 and was one of the first orphanages for boys in Omaha. Boys Town went on to become a modern example of a public boys' home all over the world. What made the Franklin cover-up case so compelling and downright shocking is that big names were said to be involved. This included not just figures connected with the Franklin Credit Union, but also prominent individuals like a Nebraska court judge, the chief of police in Omaha, and many, many more. In fact, the allegation of involvement also extended to former President George Bush Sr., Dick Cheney, Barney Frank, and many others. The curious thing about all these allegations is that after a 2-year investigation into the matter, along with several witnesses and victims coming forward, the court ruled everything about the case as a carefully crafted hoax. This is despite the fact people have pointed to an abundance of evidence against the fact. At least 2 plaintiffs, Alicia Owen and Paul Bonacci, willingly served time in prison because they refused to recant their testimonies. Paul was later awarded $1 million by the civil court after a judge believed his allegations of abuse. Meanwhile, 2 others supposedly withdrew their allegations because of pressure from the FBI. There was also another victim who never recanted her testimony, but luckily didn't serve any time in jail. The story of a cover-up soon rippled across. In fact, now hardly anyone in the mainstream are even aware of the Franklin Credit Union story and the prostitution ring tied to it. It wasn't until former Republican...
I forgot I even could pause the stream. The video. Anyway. Scary Mysteries, I don't know. Let's finish this and then we'll find something else. Because this guy's a dickhead.
Republican Senator John DeCamp investigated the matter in depth and uncovered the claims were legitimate. DeCamp was among those involved in creating a documentary called Conspiracy of Silence, which was supposed to air on the Discovery Channel in May of 1994. The documentary centered on exposing
I'm whispering Okay, I'm done. Here we go.
Network of religious leaders and prominent Washington politicians who took children.
I actually used to live at a house that we called band camp because it was like a 5-bedroom house, and my brother owned it. And I was like the landlord, and it sucked because I had to be the bitch about everything, and it was a total party house. And one of my girls who lived there was dating a drummer of this band, so all of them were always passed out in our front room, like. And so then they'd all have their friends over, and it was a huge party all the time. And so people started calling it band camp since all the band members were there, and that was the time at band camp. Not as sexy as some.
And flew them to D.C. for sex orgies. But at the last minute, when it was supposed to air, pressure from Washington politicians threatened the TV cable industry, and they pulled the plug. Soon after, the rights were bought by unknown people who ordered all copies of the documentary to be destroyed. Luckily, there are existing copies of it online. Even though the quality isn't good, it does showcase crucial information the public needs to know. Number 2. Snowtown Murders. Also known as the...
We're not going to watch the rest of his video because he's a D-bag. And I wanted to see this thing that Barely Sociable did. This guy bugs me too. I don't know what it is. Matthew Santoro. He just cringe. Holy shit. Barely Sociable is way more people than I thought he did. Alright, we'll watch some of it.
When it comes to looking into topics or mysteries on the internet, I really enjoy topics that are more obscure. It's refreshing to look into things that aren't covered to death, and it allows me to bring attention to something likely close to being solved. The number we're going to be looking in today isn't something I would generally look into or even consider as an internet mystery. It might be arguable that this isn't even an internet mystery whatsoever. This number and all of the strange things surrounding it, in essence, is a real-life incident that has only been kept alive by the internet. What we're going to be exploring is 20-some-odd years of first-hand accounts to try and figure out what happened with what may be the most mysterious phone number that existed in the 90s.
This is what we're watching. What's Snowtown? Snowtown is gold. Portland in a nutshell. Oh, I have my sister-in-law's sister, who I call my sister. We'll call her G. My friend G. My sister G lived in this house that was all lesbians too, and it was weird because it was like her ex-girlfriend and her ex-girlfriend's girlfriend that she'd been cheating on her with, but they were all living in one house, and we started calling it the Dyke Den.
Clarify before we go forward, this number is a telephone number, or a 1-800 number, and I'm going to name it momentarily, but I highly advise against calling this number, as not only is it not home to the same owner as it was in the 90s, but is also home to an erotic hotline. We're going to get into how this number changed ownership here in a bit, but for now, you just need to have a fair warning if you choose to call this number during this video. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's get to the number. It's 1-800-GOLF-TIP. While that might seem incredibly random, just know that things are about to get a hell of a lot weirder. For further background, we're going to dive into the rumors regarding this number, as it appears countless times in Google searches, and as you'll soon learn, people are just as confused as to what happened to this phone number as we are. At first, I thought this was some prank number that was meant to make you call an erotic hotline, but after messing with all the possible combinations, none of them were even remotely funny enough to make a joke out of. I'm going to leave all of the numbers here on screen and their positions, and maybe you can come up with a combination that will make sense to this entire situation. This mysterious phone number has no discernible understanding, and there's even a website dedicated to submitting your memory to try and figure this thing out. This website is entitled 1-800-GOLF-TIP.com. The homepage reads the following: Hold the phone. Remember the 90s. Remember high school. Remember calling 1-800-GOLF-TIP? If you don't, you're a fraud. If you do, what the f*** was that? We're here to find out. Please join us as we try to solve this mystery from the past. Since I've read through just about every single first-hand account there is about this telephone number, I want to give you a common consensus of what I found. Essentially, what would occur after calling this number is that a pre-recorded line would play, with a man counting to 10 over and over again, with notable pauses being made on certain numbers. Something that varies here with a lot of the first-hand accounts that are on the internet is that some people remember a pause around a 6, 7, or 8. The man speaking on the telephone is widely regarded to have an Indian or Middle Eastern accent. A few people also noted that if you left the phone on long enough, a loud scream or a synthetic siren would play to shock listeners in an audible jump scare. By all accounts, the origin of this number is almost certainly Canada, and in a couple of testimonials, people mentioned a billboard to be the original origin. We're going to touch more on the billboard later, but something I want to point out is that if you Google the numbers associated with this, the only one that comes up transcribed is 1-800-GOLF-TIP. This shows us that this rumor came from some form of source material and not from people dialing numbers randomly. If people were dialing numbers randomly, then they would have come up with different variations like 1-800-GOLF-VIP and so on. This leads me to believe that there was clearly something going on with this number back in the 90s that this many people would have the exact same memory. I submitted a question to the contact page of the website I mentioned earlier in hopes of getting a first-hand account, but I haven't heard anything back from the site's owner, but maybe they will in the future. Going forward with this search, I decided to look for references to this telephone number anywhere else on the internet in hopes of gathering new information. Unfortunately, though, I was pretty much empty-handed until I came across one Reddit thread from someone who lived in St. Catharines, Ontario, and had seen the billboard go up at the time. This Reddit thread that I found comes from a user named OhIGetJokes, and about 10 months ago, he was in the exact same situation as us today. While most of the info in this thread is stuff we've already talked about, this Reddit thread does have quite a bit of new information that I want to go over. In his Reddit thread, he outlines his experience with calling the number after seeing the billboard in his town. He states that he used to practice imitating the individual man on the other end of the call after calling the number so much as a kid. The most notable contribution that allows us to confirm that this number exists in the 90s comes from a user in the thread named Cunning Lindy, who found an archived school newspaper from Carleton University, Ottawa, dating all the way back to 1993. Here on this archive, it lists this phone number as a thing that was talked about by students on a list of things that they, quote, liked. In this thread, OhIGetJokes even goes as far as to provide an individual sound file for anyone looking into the topic. Let's take a listen to his impersonation.
Okay, here is my imitation of the 1-800-GOLF-TIP recording, keeping in mind it's been a couple decades. But the voice went something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, etc., etc. And where that pause was, I mean, I remember the breath after the 7. Other people remember it somewhere else. But I do know that the loop was seamless. I'm almost positive of that.
In a further update to this thread, OhIGetJokes also mentioned what the billboard looked like. Here's what he had to say. This was 20 years ago, but to the best of my recollection, full color with a close-up of a golf ball, a club angled away from the camera, green grass, and some blue in the upper left, 1-800-GOLF-TIP was in a big yellow 3D lettering. I reached out to OhIGetJokes, and he told me the town it was spotted in was St. Catharines, Ontario. This means that by 1993, this individual number had spread by word of mouth over 600 kilometers. In another 4chan thread from 2017, we learned that the billboard was across from an old bijou theater, and after reaching out to OhIGetJokes and asking him about the location, he mentioned that the theater had a bijou arcade on the first floor and a theater on the second floor. Since then, this theater has been torn down and replaced with a Tim Hortons. I even managed to get a picture of what this billboard looks like today. Something to note here is that this billboard is rather small, meaning it wouldn't have been too incredibly expensive in this town. By the way, I've linked Oh I Get Jokes down below as well as his thread, as I'm incredibly appreciative of posters who take time to get back to me within 15 minutes and provide additional info almost a year later after making their post. That being said, as much as I trust very friendly Canadians, I still wanted to look a bit further into this and decided that I'd look into the number itself. This dropped me into an entirely separate rabbit hole. By looking into who owns 1-800-GOLF-TIP today, I managed to find the company by the name of Mayfair Communications. The date listed for this number being updated into the 1-800 database is January 20th, 1998. What's interesting here is that this was updated 5 years after it's referenced in the student magazine. Since we have this discrepancy here, I wanted to look into Mayfair Communications as a company to try and figure out what happened to this number. After Googling Mayfair Communications, I found that quite a few businesses came up. We can cross-reference the number we're given on the 1-800 directory, and it gives us this company called Mayfair Communications in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. In my opinion, this company seems sketchy. Something to note about Mayfair Communications is when you Google them, a large number of scam reports seems to be associated with this company. Mayfair Communications Incorporated doesn't even appear to have its own website, which is incredibly suspicious. I'm not even entirely sure if Mayfair Communications is still even in business. After doing a bit of digging, I believe this company was taken over by another company called PrimeTel Communications. What's interesting is that PrimeTel was also located in Philadelphia, and they own some of the same numbers. My best guess is that PrimeTel took over the number and never updated the 1-800 record. What's interesting is when you search Mayfair Communications on Google, PrimeTel even comes up on the first page despite never directly referencing them. After looking into what PrimeTel Communications does as a company, it's crystal clear as to what happened to 1-800-GOLF-TIP. This company is notorious for hoarding millions of phone numbers and buying them as soon as they expire. This company is well known for redirecting any number it buys to an erotic chat line. This leads me to believe that Mayfair Communications scooped up this individual phone number in 1998 and then was taken over by PrimeTel, if they're not one and the same. The reason that I believe it's important to understand what happened to Mayfair is that it allows us to rule out that this was ever a joke phone number meant to call an erotic hotline. By referencing that student newspaper, we learn that 1-800-GOLF-TIP did have a previous owner, as it was referenced there. Now the big question still remains though, what is the purpose of 1-800-GOLF-TIP? Why would someone go through all of this trouble just to set up a phone number and perhaps a billboard and get people to call it? I'm going to throw forward 3 theories as to what happened, one of which I favor immensely. Keep in mind, since there's no original recording and all...
My theory is that somebody had way too much fucking time on their hands and was a dumbass. But let's see. It's only like less than 3 minutes. Okay, we can finish it.
We have our first-hand accounts. It's hard to say anything definite. The first theory that seems to be passed around a lot around this phone number is that this was some kind of social experiment or hoax. But one thing that doesn't line up here is that if this was a hoax just to mess with people, why sink money into it for no payoff potentially? There definitely could have been cheaper ways to get this phone number jump-started. Since you couldn't leave messages for this individual phone line, it's hard to see why someone would get satisfaction out of trolling this way. The only other way to hear about what you had done and set up a billboard and created a graphic for would be from word of mouth, and while this seems possible, let's look into other theories. The second theory is that the person who paid for this billboard passed away or something happened to them after setting it up. They could have used this counting to 10 recording as a placeholder, but that doesn't seem to explain away the scream that was heard at the end, or the siren. The only way to know for sure is to see who paid for the billboard and see if there's an obituary for them, but good luck finding who paid for it. The last theory is the one that I would like to entertain the most, as it requires the least assumptions and provides a motive. I personally believe, after looking into this whole situation, assuming all of the rumors were true, that this was some kind of marketing lead generation tactic. And if you don't know what that means, it was likely a way to collect phone numbers for telemarketing purposes. Caller ID was definitely around at this time, and it could have been a ploy to get people to intentionally call in with a cryptic phone number. That way they could collect active, fresh phone numbers to be sold to later on. This makes sense in my opinion, as telemarketing was much more lucrative in the 90s and was gaining traction. Cold calling would have been much more effective, and today we kind of get robocalled every 2 seconds, but people in the 90s were not used to that. At this time, there wasn't even a do not call list until 2004, so it would make sense that this was some kind of tactic. They paid for a relatively small billboard and could have gotten thousands of phone numbers over its existence. People clearly pass this thing around like crazy, so this would have been a gold mine. This theory provides a motive for paying for the billboard and shows how they could have made their money back later on. They could have even directly sold these phone numbers to other companies in the area. But as far as this mystery goes, this is my best guess. Keep in mind, this is somewhat logical, but it's still complete conjecture as it's based on first-hand accounts that we can't even technically prove to this day. In conclusion, I want to point out that what I'm providing is based off of first-hand accounts, and unless someone comes forward or new evidence comes out, it's really hard to say anything for certain. If there's something I've learned from rumors and first-hand accounts is that they're incredibly inaccurate, so like I said, this is my best guess. What we have left today is an internet urban legend, and while it's fun to entertain theories, I'd love to know what you guys think about this entire thing. As I said, I'll leave that one thread linked down below if you guys want to look into this for yourself, and if we can come up with something new, that would be awesome. But for now, this is Barely Sociable. Have a good night.
Watched disturbing things from around the internet. My mic is up, so I am talking. Alright, we're gonna watch the next bow video.
Today's video is sponsored by you. As you guys know, these types of videos take a while to make. If you like the content I put out and would like to help support the channel, head over to patreon.com/nextbow and, if you're able, throw me a couple bucks. There, you'll gain various perks, such as early access to videos while I wait for YouTube to review them, sneak peeks, your name in the end credits, and admission to my official Discord server. If you can't, trust me, don't worry about it. I truly appreciate all of you for just being here. It means the world to me. Anyway, I love you. Now let's get to it. Game over. A staple of every video game, old and new, as a vehicle to convey to the player that their efforts failed, that they didn't finish the task before them. Whether it's by running out of stamina, veering off the expected course, or by simply failing to complete a mission in time, it's safe to assume that anyone that's
Zelda is the best game ever. Period. No battle. No battle.
ever played a video game has experienced this message at some point in their lives. Video games are a work of art, relics of fiction, presumably handcrafted by one or more developers that have carried a vision within their minds of the story that they set out to convey. The expectation that comes with this centers on the principle that everything, or the vast majority of everything that's presented to you from the second you press that power button, is merely entertainment, created to drive an interactive experience from the mind of the creator to you. But that isn't always the case. As a matter of fact, there's a video game out there that seems to have implemented something that, at first glance, appears to be fully real, sending the morbidly curious down a years-long hunt to find out if that's actually the case. A game over screen, and a depiction of death that's veered all too close to the brink of reality. This is the story of Hong Kong 97. Let's back it up a few years. I'm sure you've heard of a man by the name of James Rolfe. Having skyrocketed to fame thanks to his iconic character, the angry video game nerd, Rolf has, since the mid-2000s, personally brought me many nights of joy, laughter.
Know who this guy is? Because I have no idea who this guy is. But apparently he's famous in some circles.
And nostalgia in his many series, even aside from his portrayals as the nerd. From You Know It's Bullshit to Bored James to rental reviews, Rolf has had no shortage of wildly entertaining series that carry this unique charm, evident from the outset of his historical tenure online. So far, the Angry Video Game Nerd has over 170 episodes at the time of writing, admittedly something that's incredibly impressive for a series held primarily online. Out of all of these, though, there's one from March of 2015, episode 134, that introduced me to a video game curiously titled Hong Kong 97.
I've been called upon to take care of business once again. Apparently, there is a game worse than Big Rigs. Worse than Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Worse than Crazy Bus or Desert Bus. It is known as Hong Kong 97, and I've been getting requests for it up the ass. The requests are so far up the ass, it's time to shit them out.
The episode isn't very long. As a matter of fact, it's one of the shorter ones because there really isn't that much to the game. The story is absolute chaos, the gameplay is utter garbage, and it's just an all-around slog to play through. At least according to James. Anyway, one of the major lowlights of the episode occurs about halfway in. The nerd's doing his thing, ripping this game apart as he plays it. And then he encounters something. The game over screen that depicts an all too real looking death.
One hit and the game's over. Why would I expect anything more? No. Oh, please. I hope that's not a real dead body. No, there's no way they'd have such bad taste. That's gotta be an actor. Or we're looking at some guy who died on that date and time in 1992.
After this grim segment, it's back to business for the remainder of the episode. Rolf gets back into the swing of things and strings together jokes that were admittedly pretty clever. After doing a couple minutes of critical thinking, formulating ties between the game's reliance on the future and the year 1997, he eventually comes to the conclusion that the game Hong Kong 97 is equivalent to dog shit, before drawing this episode to a close. And so it begins. Apart from the realm of crude humor and lighthearted jokes, the widespread interest in Hong Kong 97 was merely beginning to take root. The game was developed in 1995 by a studio simply known as Happysoft. This, in actuality, is comprised of just one enigmatic man by the name of Yoshihisa Kurosawa, who we'll get more into later. Apparently, this entire thing was designed and developed in the short span of just 7 days, and going off the crude nature of the gameplay, I personally fully believe it. Anyway, the story for Hong Kong 97 seems as if it was one massive shitpost that was way before its time. Being presented in an upfront storyboard format, it's nothing short of comically insane. But my description doesn't do it justice. Just look. So we start the game up and see the title screen. After clicking start, we're met with a message that seems like it's marketing? Anyway, pressing through that, you're met with this. The year 1997 has arrived. A herd of fucking ugly reds are rushing from the mainland. Crime rates skyrocketed. Hong Kong is ruined. Therefore, the Hong Kong government called Bruce Lee's relative, Chin, for the massacre of the Reds. Chin is a killer machine. Wipe out all 1.2 billion of the Red communists. However, in mainland China, there was a secret project in progress. A project to transform the deceased Deng Xiaoping into an ultimate weapon. Yeah. Anyway, you then realize that our main character Chin is actually Jackie Chan, and Deng Xiaoping is Deng Xiaoping. The game then starts, and it's a top-down shooter that has you battling a literal endless wave of communists before you finally reach the aforementioned killing machine, the head of Tong.
Kill the communists. I don't understand, like, is communism that bad? Like, I think communism is bad because they shouldn't have control over everything. But socialism, like, everybody gets, like, equal amounts for equal work. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why that is such a bad thing. Like, all of us getting our stimulus checks is, like, the most socialist thing a president has ever done. And Trump was the one who did it. Trump is a socialist. Sorry, I don't mean to hurt any feelings. Love you.
Xiaoping. The game only lasts about 5 minutes total in length, however repeats itself over and over each time you defeat the final boss, giving the illusion that it's much longer than it actually is. Oh yeah, and the soundtrack is absolute fire. So, with all of the insanity that's been presented to us thus far in regards to Hong Kong 97, the game over screen was the primary catalyst that kept people actually talking about it. This disturbingly mysterious endgame was something that stood eerily out of place. But, we're probably overthinking this anyway. This couldn't be real, could it? The Reddit Bureau of Investigation, October 10th of 2018. Is that a real corpse in the game over screen of Hong Kong 97? Here's the screen I referred to. So there's a notorious homebrew video game called Hong Kong 97. It was released on the Super Nintendo and is only playable through emulation as no physical copies of this game exist. It's made by a company that doesn't actually exist. Now, I wonder, is that a real dead body? This has haunted me ever since I heard about this game. It looks real, with the time codes and everything, and the position of the body. It's really creepy and disturbing to look at. The whole game itself is a mystery, to be honest. Just the shadiness of the company makes me think it's real. Heading back in time 3 years further, we have another. The video game Hong Kong 97's game over screen presents a photo of a dead man. It has a timestamp in the photo and appears to be a home video. No original video found. Some say this was a real murder shown to people through the game. The only known picture of this man is from the game itself. As we can see, discussion about Kurosawa's insane creation was hot, and for good reason. The image is disturbing, it's gruesome, and it seems extremely out of place for something like this. Banking on the fact that this entire game was created in just 7 days, it seems unlikely that Kurosawa would take on the liberty and monetary obligation to stage a scene like this. So what are we working with? Let's break it down. Before us, we have a photo of a man that appears to have been shot more than once. He seems to have a tattoo on his right arm and has either dark brown or black hair and a beard. At the top, we can see a time code of sorts, preceded by the letters T, C, and R. On the bottom left, though, we're able to notice a date and time. 1731, or 5:31 p.m. on August 6th of 1992. Either that, or June 8th of 1992. Before we continue, I want to point out something. Back during the era of VHS camcorders, the vast majority of them denoted the date and time at the bottom corner of the screen.
I thought
it's
that
essentially
said
common knowledge by this point, but this implies that this is not a still image.
I don't know.
This is from video. Even further supporting this is the code at the top.
That's definitely 6692,
TCR.
right?
According to Wikipedia, TCR timecode, or burnt-in timecode, is a human-readable on-screen version of the timecode information for a piece of material superimposed on a video image. Timecode is sometimes used in conjunction with real machine-readable timecode, but more often used in copies of original material onto a non-broadcast format such as VHS, so that the VHS copies can be traced back to their master tape and the original timecodes easily located. This effectively cements the fact that this originated from video, further implying that Kurosawa must have ripped this from somewhere. But where? All we have to go off of is this still frame, a time, and a date at the bottom left. Expanding on that, I previously mentioned that this was either on August 6th or June 8th of 1992. However, at this point, I'm beginning to lean towards the latter, as I've noticed an inconsistency. The game takes place in Hong Kong. However, Kurosawa lives in Japan. Both regions use the same.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a fucking body. It looks like a body to me. Does that say Chiba? Is there a knockoff China? There's Chiba. China knocked itself off. Oh,
Same date formats, which is the year, followed by the month, followed by the day. Furthermore, they both use a 24-hour clock. While the time notation lines up with what we see in the frame, the date format doesn't. If we're assuming that the month is first, then that narrows us down to just 3 countries that currently use it: the United States, Canada, and Micronesia. The only catch: all 3 of them use a 12-hour timecode and not the 24-hour clock as it's denoted in the game over screen. Many also realized this, and after digging, the major contender of origin essentially became narrowed down to Europe. It employs the matching date and time formats, in turn sparking the hunt to not only figure out if this were real, but who exactly this was. Throughout the years, a name's popped up. Back during the early days of this investigation, many YouTube commenters, GameFAQs forum posters, and Redditors alike arrived at the harmonious agreement that the game over screen depicted this man. Leszek was a Polish boxer that died on August 6th of 1992 by grief-stricken suicide.
that does not look like the dead guy. Ooh, that's my brother's birthday, August 6th. My brother's a fucking ass. We're not going to talk about that.
Surprisingly, online information about him is scant, but for some odd reason, people were dead set on the theory that the person in this game was him. I mean, the dates match up, they both look the same, and Blazinski must have committed suicide by gun, right? Right? Well, no. I'm going to assume that the reason this happened was so people could have a name to attach this to.
Hold on, I need to go back and see that again. I didn't look at it close enough. Sorry, guys.
Sense of success that they finally... Well, right? They both... Information about him is scant, but for some odd reason, people were dead set on the theory that the person in this game was him. I mean, the dates match up, they both look the same.
The body looks like an Asian guy, in my opinion. But, you know, when you're dead, sometimes you don't quite look like yourself anymore.
Same, and Blazinski must have committed suicide by gun, right? Right? Well, no. I'm going to assume that the reason this happened was so people could have a name to attach this to. A sense of success that they've finally put the cap on this mystery. Ironically though, This leaves obvious details overlooked that severely weaken the tie to Blazinski altogether. August 6th of 1992 was the date of his death, right? Interesting, because we just finished making the connection that the date is actually incorrect. It was on June 8th. Furthermore, performing a search on any sort of life backstory on this guy drums up results that are few and far between. You're able to find a bare-bones Wikipedia page, a few basic online biographies, and a flood of conspiracy theories linking this man to Hong Kong 97. I've been digging into him for a while, and I haven't been able to find any sort of video footage of his death, or even him at all for that matter, so I'm finding it extremely hard to believe that Kurosawa had dug this incredibly obscure footage up in the matter of days. That is, unless he mysteriously had a VHS on hand, but that doesn't logically add up considering their regions. And that fast, by ruling out Blazinski, we're back to square one. Throughout 2018, a plethora of posts and videos would spring up, further theorizing on this. Interestingly, the Blazinski theory was criticized by many, as it did appear to be a substantial reach. At the time, it was widely accepted, but crudely unsatisfactory. And things were silent. Up in the air. Until July 26th of 2019. That day, a niche YouTube channel by the name of Ramtro Studios would upload a video titled, "We Found the Hong Kong 97 Body. Warning, graphic content." In the video, he essentially discusses how we've been theorizing on this for years, and how he's finally found the answer. Thanks to a Mayo Sucks 69, Ramtro is contacted with the following.
Is Ryan still here? Did Ryan leave?
Hello, I've been searching for your contact info on your YouTube profile and came across your Bandcamp. It's in a Japanese Mondo film called Death File. It happens at 2837. Interestingly, the video's still up on YouTube. He showed in the latter half of the video that searching up Death File brings up a ton of results. However, out of all of them, one would be an outlier. "18 and up, Archivos da Morte, Guerra, or Death File, War." Opening the video brings you to a warning screen, a graphic content gateway that was requested by the uploader, a Kaio 98. It appears to have been uploaded to their channel on January 16th of 2017 and merely rests in a playlist curiously titled Shockumentary. That's honestly what Death File seems to be. According to a filmao.com, the description of this 60-minute episode reads the following. Welcome to the cruel world. Extreme life and death situations that happen every day around the world. Captured by amateur journalists and videographers with great courage and nerves of steel. Watch if you dare. Fast forwarding to 2837, Indeed reveals that this man is, in fact, the one in the game over screen of Hong Kong 97. It's from a segment about the Bosnian War, a grueling conflict that took place between April of 1992 and December of 1995, resulting in over 100,000 deaths. Out of those 100,000, it's safe to assume that one of those, unfortunately, was this man. Perhaps Kurosawa was a fan of Death File. Maybe he had it playing while he coded the game and snapped a quick picture. We honestly don't know, and probably never will. According to a statement given by him in January of 2018, he claims the following. Every day I get questions on Facebook from all around the world, from people I've never heard of, asking things like, who does the corpse at the end of the game belong to? People have started to read too much into the game, and they've made up their own new mysteries surrounding it. The entire setting and context was just stuff I made up as I went along. The questions are endless, so I just ignore them all. Thanks to the nerd, Hong Kong 97 was launched into the limelight and shook the online world, leading everyone on a years-long hunt for answers. While we may never know the who or the how behind this disturbing image, it's satisfying to, at the very least, finally uncover its origin. According to Kurosawa, the goal was simply to create a vulgar game, and I thought it would be more fun for the gameplay to be a failure. But honestly, I just wish people would forget about the game once and for all. But that's the thing. Hong Kong 97 will never be forgotten. This quirky mess of a game has successfully cemented itself into online culture, and will, for the foreseeable future, go down as one of the worst video games ever made, with one of the darkest game over screens in history.
Well, alright then.
Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I love you all. And good night.
Thanks, Nexpo. We love you too. That sounds amazing. I wanna come. Alright. What should we watch now? Who has any ideas? Oh, let me share this with all of you. Nigel, quiet, buddy. What are you doing? I've been token since Tuesday. My bowl never runs dry. Same, dude. Except I eat the edibles and I have to go get more, and the stupid dispensary they made in my town doesn't have shit in it. Like, look at this. Let's see if I can find it. Dragonfly Wellness. Okay. Yes, we're 21. So, out of stock, 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 out of stock. Oh, they have type 3 flour. Oh, they have topical creams in. Anything that I would actually use is out of stock. Actually, this might be okay, but for $90, that's fucking ridiculous. They have vape cartridges, but shitty ones, and then edibles. Out of stock. Out of stock. Nothing. Like, alright, way to run a dispensary and not have shit in it. Fucking. So yeah, I have to go on another trip to go find what's left. Lava cake. I've heard that's actually pretty good, but I don't know. Stupid is what it is. And they haven't opened more than one dispensary here yet. I wrote them an angry letter like old white women do, because I'm getting old, so I can write angry letters. Alright, I'm gonna call it a night, you guys. I love you all. This has been fun. I'm getting better at this, so hopefully things will start getting better and better, and hopefully Kevin is the one who streams tomorrow night and actually does, because we miss him and we want him back. And yeah. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the Discord, and until next time, big kisses. Mwah! Okay. Night night, or have a good day.